Let's dive in and talk more about claims against the bankruptcy estate. Now, claims against a bankruptcy estate represent the rights of creditors and shareholders to receive payment from the debtor's estate. Now, to have a claim allowed, which grants the right to payment from the debtor's estate, certain steps must be taken. First off, we've got unsecured creditors must file a proof of claim with the bankruptcy court. Kind of talked about that as well, the proof of interest for shareholders. These documents are going to be evidence for the creditors or the shareholders' rights to any of this. Now, shareholders, they kind of get the short end of the stick. As we'll see, shareholders are basically at the bottom. Creditors are getting money first, debt is getting paid down first, and then anything left goes to the shareholders. And we can see this when we deal with partnership questions, and I mean, corporation questions as well. I just got partnerships on my mind right now. Just always thinking about those partnerships, daydreaming about them, wishing I was in a partnership. So with shareholders here, those you could think like the partners, and when we're winding up, when we're getting rid of a partnership, liquidating it, we pay down the creditors first, and then the owners, shareholders, whoever you may be, depending on the entity type, they are going to get whatever is left. Now, in most cases, once a proof of claim or interest is filed, the court will automatically allow the claim unless an objection is raised. Unsecured creditors who fail to timely file a claim may not participate in the distribution of the debtor's estate, effectively forfeiting their right to recover any funds. Yeah, I'm a little upset about, hey, you can tell I had a situation where I didn't know that I needed to file this, so I'm a little salty about it still at this point. Now, it's important to note that a perfected security interest generally passes through and survives bankruptcy even if the secured creditor does not file a proof of claim. This means that the creditor can still enforce their security interest in the collateral after the bankruptcy process is completed, as their claim is secured by the underlying asset. All right, we got a big, beautiful example. Claims against the bankruptcy estate. We've got a debtor with total assets of $100,000 and total liabilities of $150,000. How are you going to pay that down? You don't have enough money to pay that down. We will go through bankruptcy. Wouldn't you know it? Liabilities include a secured loan from Bank A with a perfected security interest in machinery of $30,000, an unsecured loan from Bank B for $50,000, an unsecured loan from Bank C for $40,000, and an unsecured loan from Bank D for $30,000. The debtor's shareholders' equity consists of 100 shares. Let's dive through this whole process. In this scenario, each claimant must follow the process outlined in our previous slides to participate in the distribution of the debtor's estate. Bank A does not need to file a proof of claim as their loan is secured with a perfected security interest in the machinery. The secured loan will pass through and survive bankruptcy, allowing Bank A to enforce their security interest in the machinery after the bankruptcy process. Now, banks B, C, and D must file proofs of claim to establish their rights to payment from the debtor's estate. Now, suppose banks B and C file their proofs of claim within the given deadline, but Bank D, sorry to hear it, fails to do so. In this case, Bank D will not participate in the distribution of the debtor's estate. Next up, shareholders must file those proofs of interest to establish their right to any potential distribution. Suppose all 100 shareholders file their proofs of interest within the deadline. Once the bankruptcy process is completed, the distribution may look like this. Bank A, who enforced their security interest, recovers $30,000 from the machinery. The remaining assets, where we see there's $100,000 of assets, so minus that 30, will be distributed among the unsecured creditors, banks B and C, and possibly shareholders if any funds are left after paying the unsecured creditor. Bank D doesn't get to participate because they failed to file that proof of claim. Sorry, Bank D, better luck next time. It's time to talk more about the property that is going to be included in the bankruptcy estate. Now, the bankruptcy estate, this is a key concept, well, because this is what gets distributed to all the creditors, all those wonderful people waiting for their share. It's going to represent the pool of assets available for distribution to creditors and, maybe shareholders if they get a little bit of the crumbs at the bottom. In general, the debtor's estate includes a wide range of property interests, which can be broadly categorized as the following. Well, we've got assets at the time of filing. The debtor's estate typically comprises all of the debtor's real and personal property at the time of filing. This is going to include tangible assets such as real estate, vehicles, and personal belongings, as well as intangible assets such as stocks, bonds, and intellectual property rights. The purpose of including these assets in the estate is going to be to provide a comprehensive pool of resources to satisfy all of these creditor claims. So if you write a book, becomes popular, that could be on the line as well. Next up, post-filing income and property acquisitions. The bankruptcy estate also encompasses certain income and property acquired by the debtor within 180 days after filing the petition for relief. This is going to include any income generated from estate property such as interest, dividends, or royalties. and property acquired through inheritance, divorce settlements, or life insurance proceeds. That kind of gets roped into there, and it's includable in that pot of money to distribute. Now, by including post-filing income and property acquisitions in the estate, the bankruptcy system aims to prevent debtors from strategically timing their bankruptcy filings to shield significant assets from creditors. This is, in essence, a clawback, as we've mentioned before. Now, treatment of leases. What are we talking about here? Well, in a bankruptcy case, the trustee has the authority to assume, assign, or reject the debtor's leases. This could be just leasing an apartment, leasing a car. This provides the trustee with flexibility in managing the debtor's estate and maximizing the return to creditors. The options available to the trustee will include, first off, the trustee can decide to assume and retain the lease. The trustee could choose to assume the lease and continue using the leased property for the benefit of the estate. In this case, the trustee must cure any defaults and provide adequate assurance of future performance under the lease. Assuming and assigning the lease. So the trustee could also assume a lease and then assign it to a third party. Now, this can generate income for the estate if the lease has value in excess of the debtor's obligations under the lease. And then we can also reject the lease. If the lease is burdensome and not beneficial to the estate, the trustee can actually reject it. And upon rejection, the lease is terminated and any resulting damages become an unsecured claim against the estate. All right, let's run through some property that's not included in the bankruptcy estate. Some of these we've talked about, I've hinted at, or we've straight up seen before. But here's a nice comprehensive list. Not comprehensive in the real world, but just what you need to know for the exam. First off, alimony and child support. These are generally exempt from the bankruptcy estate as they're considered necessary for the support of the debtor and their dependents. Save the children, and these are necessary payments to stay alive, buying food and groceries. Government benefits. So most government benefits are exempt, including Social Security benefits, unemployment compensation, veterans benefits, public assistance, and disability. It's kind of like, hey, if you're getting those, you probably need it or you earned it, right? I'm not going to try to mess with the veterans benefits. Retirement accounts. Most types of retirement accounts, such as 401ks, 403bs, and IRAs, are going to be exempt from the bankruptcy estate up to a certain amount. We've got this homestead exemption. Many states provide a homestead exemption, which protects a portion of the equity in the debtor's primary residence. We don't want to kick you to the curb, right? We want to make sure you're actually having a place to stay. And then personal property. Certain personal property may be exempt, such as clothing, household goods, appliances, and furniture, up to a specific amount, right? They're not trying to rob you of everything. We're not trying to say that you can't have, your stove, so you can't cook yourself dinner. But hey, if you've got a $10,000 toaster oven, which I don't know what that toaster oven does, but it must do something good if it's $10,000, that is likely going to be considered frivolous and not includable. Or actually, not includable, that you can't save it. It will be included in the bankruptcy estate. Maybe sell that off and buy a cheaper toaster, like the rest of those normal people. All right, we got a few more. We got tools of the trade. So tools, equipment, and other items necessary for the debtor's trade or profession may be exempt. Hey, I'm recording CPA videos. If I declare bankruptcy, you're not going to take my laptop away because guess what? I need this to record CPA videos. That would be quite disruptive for my ability to pay back my creditors. Motor vehicles. Many states have this motor vehicle exemption as well. If you are in the majority of the United States and you need a car to get to work or kind of just live and function in your life, this is going to protect a portion of the equity in their car, truck, or other vehicle. Now, you see a portion of equity, saw that with the house as well. Again, if it's something frivolous, the courts, and not to get into, you wouldn't see questions about this, but theoretically, what you may see is the court, the trustee says, all right, you have to sell off your stupid expensive sports car and buy a normal person car, right? Buy a nice Honda Accord or a little Toyota, something like that. Life insurance policies. Some states exempt the cash value of life insurance policies, while others protect the policy's proceeds. We're kind of don't really worry about that, I'll say. Health aids, so prescribed health aids, wheelchairs, hearing aids, prosthetics. Now, the reason we even have to mention this is because usually these things are incredibly expensive and valuable. You think, well, we shouldn't even have to mention this. It would just be kind of an awful move to take someone's medical devices that they need. But again, a lot of these things can be thousands and thousands of dollars, so that's why we're mentioning it here. But yeah, we're not taking away what you need to survive. Injury and wrongful death awards. Compensation for personal injuries or wrongful death may be exempt up to a certain amount. And then education savings accounts as well. These are not going to be included either. Hey there. Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material. We'll do it together. Tap into the power of cpa.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.